and Sky in the series The Outer Edge, and this is part 3 of this attempt to find a portal monolith on Kaina, Dhren, a beautiful planet that I love to explore. So it's gravy. I did record one before this, and I'm very, very sad because with YouTube it's showing up as live now, but it's really stranded in oblivion and limbo, probably forever. That's okay. I'm just starting over and I'm just continuing on. I don't know that I will find a portal in this series, but I'm just going to explore, sometimes recording and sometimes not. I do know there's one on this planet, because if you look back at the earlier series I have, which is called Lore and Explore number 5, that was when I just started playing, and I didn't yet have any ideas for mapping a location, sort of keeping track of a location once I had found it, but I do now. I only took a short video, and I also didn't know at the time what a portal was and why they might be rare. So I wasn't taking proper enough care. I wish I had recorded for longer. I wish I had set some landmarks that I didn't wipe out in the next couple of days. Things like this. I do have thoughts about where it is based on the evidence in the video and my memory. And I am trying, at this point, to get back there. To do that, I'm having to, first of all, find my way, hopefully, towards the equator, which is where I believe I was when I did that video. And luckily I have a few things in place to help me do that. The way that I use signal scanners is mainly for mapping. And I have all these symbols all over the place. That's because of that. If you look at one of these other worlds, you can see stuff up there deliberately pegged because like here's a spot where I probably found what is it, a trading post, and used the signal scanner I could find closest to it so that I could find my way back to the vicinity again. Same thing over here for different reasons that I'd have to go back there to find, but at least I'll be able to find my way back to those spots. So I'm doing the same thing here. This, if I can get kind of to the edge of what I believe is this rise here, to get a bit of a clearer view. So these are towards, I believe, the North Pole. It's a big cluster of them there, and then a bunch more along the way to another spot where I found another trading post, which I believe would be over here. A couple of trading posts over there. This is definitely a trading post. And then I mapped a few things in between. What I'm trying to do is kind of get far away from that because that's the pole. And I'm trying to get to the ship that's crashed beyond the horizon here. I'm trying to go in this direction. Now, earlier, I also have a rule, by the way. I think I'll head up there because I have this little rule that helps me out. And it is that when I get out of my ship, I won't get back into my ship until I have grabbed some plutonium. Usually I can find some, a worst case scenario, I can grab some from a pod, a little supply case. But much better than that, of course, is to find a nice supply like these. I'll just grab the one. I'm really not hurting for it. I just want to keep with my tradition because it keeps me in good stead as far as plutonium goes. Let's just do that. That's plenty. Now, we're going to use this signal beacon or signal scanner to plot a few more locations. What sometimes happens, what often seemed to be happening earlier, is I would hit this thing, and for whatever inexplicable reason, I'm pretty much only mapping monoliths at this point, they would show up in that direction, which, as you can see, obviously is a big mess. And they would just get lost in all this, and I think they may even be actually in there. That doesn't do me much good down here. I'm really hoping for things in this wide open, much larger area, which, as you can see, there are some scattered bits and pieces here, and I'm trying to see an hour away. Really, right now I'm just trying to get myself to this crash site to get where, I hope is close to the equator. I'm hoping for things in that direction. And I have absolutely, you would think this is random in terms of what direction it seeks, but I swear to you, it keeps giving me things up, it clustered with those others, and I don't know if there's a kind of a gravitational effect once you've got so many. I don't know what the deal is, but. And you know what? I bet this is another, because often when it's pointed down towards the ground, it's because really it's lost in a giant muddle. Just like that. Muddled up. Alright. Very frustrating. Totally frustrating me. Alright. Alright. Very uncool. Very uncool. Okay, well, I'm going to do the other one. What I've basically been doing is allowing myself 2 per signal scanner and then continuing to head in that direction. I guess another thing I could do is go back to what I was before that doing was hitting transmissions, because transmissions can be several things, not just monoliths, but also crashed ships, also observatories, which for the most part I don't need those anymore. Even though there's an observatory in the video, I can see an observatory next to the portal I'm seeking. I can spot those. But at the same time, I'm finding this problem with clustering monoliths way up north, so maybe I guess I'll try transmission. There's no science to this at this point yet. And, that's maybe a little better. Beacons are useless to me. Beacons tend to point to crashed ships. They do fly high up in the air, which might be nice, but alright, well, anyway, this one was a bust. I'm just going to continue heading towards that spot. Now, when I reach that crash ship, I really don't expect that I'm going to try and use it or anything. What I do expect I might do is head straight up in the air and see how close I am to the equator. Just visually. But, God, beacon... Let's take a look at the carnage. And also the beautiful landscape. If you haven't seen Kaina Dhren before this, you can find a world like this. And when you do, you should, if you're on a PS4, save a flash drive, save that place so that you can go back to it later, because it's absolutely worth it. It's so much more fun to explore in a world like this, where everything isn't out to kill me, where the air isn't out to kill me, where there's just as much lore. So, for you just joining, we are looking for a portal that I did find on this world about a week ago, and I did record a short video for it. It is Lore and Explore number 5. I'm using the slim bit of evidence I have from that to try and find it again. So at least I know there's one here, and I have stumbled upon them in a couple of the other worlds in this system. But as yet, it's kind of a scattered approach, using signal scanners to find locations, going to those locations, using signal scanners again to poke and prod towards monoliths. Yeah, absolutely. If you find a beautiful world, save it. Keep it. A place to roam and explore is absolutely priceless in this world we live in. Alright. So we're heading towards this crashed ship because I believe it's close to the equator. But we also have this... that's off planet. That's 30... Tell you what, let's hit this thing because it's 35 seconds away. And although I'm not a fan of beacons, we'll give this one a try. Oh, darn it. You know what? We're not going to, and I'll tell you why. This is one of these that is on this tiny little precipice off. You know, we can jump over there. We'll do this one. I'm really not a fan of these. Probably it's going to drop me on the very edge. The jet over there. I found quite a few spots just on these little precipices and these little bluffs above these beautiful craters. At least the ship can land on a dime. That's cool. Alright. Now, before I grab much more, I really don't have much more room for just stuff, so let's not worry about that. I'm going to grab a screenshot of this wide view. I've been doing that recently. So hang in there. Saving, and back at it. Hopefully everything's still working just fine. Advanced life form. And that is... how far away? Shelter 5 hours away. And, you know, what's funny is, it's close to these other things that are 5, maybe 6 hours away. So, for whatever reason, recently these have just been clustering up in areas where I've mapped things earlier. I'm trying to go this way. Alright, we're just going to put a little more distance. I'm not grabbing many knowledge stones because at this point I'm pretty close to, I think, the end of what I can learn the Gek language. Bootleg. I am writing them down. And if you're playing, I recommend you do that too because they actually come in an order. And that order suggests a kind of a story. So it's definitely worth it. You can learn a lot about that culture from the words you learn and in what order you learn them, I think. Oops, not that. Okay. Not going that way. We're going that way. Let's keep on. When we get to that crash ship, we're not going to try to revive it. We're going to use the signal scanner again, hope that it doesn't cluster up north, and then get up in the air and check and see how close we are to the equator. Let's get a little speed. I'm probably going to explore for this there's an example of a plaque on one of those little outcrops. So I'll probably do a little more let's play looking for this, and I'll look around a bit more without it. It's kind of blind luck whether I find it while I'm on or recording or while I'm not. Over here. Sometimes these temporary waypoints come live and I just don't quite understand why. And then I got that little sound. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go check that guy out. You know, one thing I'm looking for are locations. So a little earlier when I was doing this, I found a location I had visited a week ago when I was like right around when I would have found this site. Oh, and this is unexplored, undiscovered. Not one of those cases. I just don't need anything right now. Always need plutonium, though. If I get out of my ship, I don't get back in until I've gotten some plutonium. If at all possible. Make something that otherwise would be a grind into just no big deal. Usually do it right when I get to a site. Poke around. It doesn't have to be much. Just enough to fulfill my little obligation to myself. Keep me in plutonium. Sentinel didn't even notice. Alright, we'll do one signal scan. Also running out of space. Oh, come on. What's wrong here? Monolith. Not having... well... I don't know. I could try to just find drop pods. I mean, I remember there being a plaque very near to that portal as well. I really wish I had been recording. Really wish I had been paying more attention to mapping at the time. I would just love to find a portal on this world. I've got a couple on a couple of other worlds, and I've got the places saved, but I love exploring this world so much that I really just would like to have one there as kind of a home base. So, guess we'll just do monolith. Please stop doing that. Alright. This is useless. Once again, it has plopped that thing down way off in this giant cluster up north. Don't know why. I mean, it may be that I've got so many that it's, you know, bugging the system somehow, but that's just completely not helpful to me for navigation. Now, there's another possibility, actually, I hadn't thought about until now. It also may be that you can only have so many map points, and that it keeps replacing ones that already exist with the new ones, you know, that I'm finding, like remapping it basically, because it can't add anymore, and that would be a bummer too. It would mean there would be no reason at all to use these, and really the only way to find this thing would just be to fly around and look for it. So that would be sad if that were so, because I really like working along some kind of a method. A few other great streamers are doing things like looking for the orientation of plaques, of the eyes in plaques, of all of the kinds of cool things, and I respect those a lot. You know, I'm beginning to really feel like it's just as likely to find one. The ones I have found so far, all, have been from simply flying around, keeping my eyes peeled and looking. Seriously, every one. But then again, that's because, you know, I mean, the only other way to find one would be to have one mapped by using this technique. And I have, you know, I only just found one like that on a different world. Alright, well, let's get to our ship. That's what we said we were going to do. May as well just go right there. Oh no, you know what? Alright, I've got good news and bad news. That is the funniest thing. It is one I have been to before, and not only that, it is one I have been to a couple of times before. Okay, so here's the deal. When you map something with the signal scanner, and I'll tell you why I said good news, bad news, and not just plain bad news. When you map something with the signal scanner, it gives you a nice fresh icon. Nice, full-colored, filled-in icon. It is only when you get close to it that, at least mercifully, at least it doesn't stay fresh forever if you've visited it. When you get close to it, it grays itself out if you have visited it before. And now that we are here, we can see that I have absolutely been to this site. That's the bad news. The good news, and I remember it, so, there's no doubt. And so the good news, though, is that if I have been to it before, that means I have been to this area before. If I have been to this area before, then it may be near to where the portal was. So what I'm going to do, first of all, since I have a nearby waypoint, is I'm going to go ahead and check that out on the off chance. At the time when I was here, I did turn on waypoints for the portal that I found, as well as a nearby plaque. So it's possible that it would be back there. You know what other... Well... I don't know. Let's try to find this thing. Let's just go one step at a time. It is definitely fun portal hunting, though, I'll tell you that. This might be very, very far away. I would have to think... Let's try something. It's really hard to tell. It shouldn't be that close. Yeah, it's probably where we just were. I don't know. Okay. Well, what I said I was going to do when I got to this spot, I suspect it may be where we just were, and now it's disappeared, so that's fine, whatever. Alright. I had said what we were going to do... Oh, wait. Oh, it's a little market. I remember that. Oh, I wonder. I bet I've been here before too. I'm gonna land just in case. Maybe not. I don't know. Nope, I have not. Amazing. Ha! Coatl Plains. That's kind of neat. The word coatl is... Well, I guess at least I can sell a couple of these things. What I was going to do, I had said, was fly up in the air. Now, one nice thing is the get my plutonium tax here. Oops. I had said I was going to fly up in the air and see how close I was to the equator, and I will still do that right after I take care of this. Where is... There it is. Okay, just the basics. Sell a bypass chip or two. So it did at least look like that crash site disappeared when I got here, and that is good. I don't want those things sticking around if they're not new leads, right? So do one more. Alright, when we get up into space, and it may be that the only way to see really how close we were or are to the equator is to get ourselves well above the atmosphere, well into the asteroid field, maybe even a fair distance towards the space station. Now, all of this falls apart if the poles are not consistent. Essentially, if worlds are spinning on, you know, at kind of an off-kilter angle. And I have some reason to think that that may be true. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. One reason I'm also doing these Let's Plays, even though I can't see chat, I can't join in and all that kind of thing, and I don't have some giant, you know, brand and this kind of thing, is I just want people to be able to see players like me who there really are not many games that allow, I mean, you know, open world is one thing, but to be able to freely explore and absolutely have to figure out your own way of, your own goals and your own priorities in types of worlds you want to spend your time at. I mean, that's extremely rare. I don't even know of any other case. So I want people to see that this is possible, because despite the ridiculous hate that No Man's Sky is getting from a number of quarters for not being enough of a gamey game, it's got some amazing, amazing experiences in store. So that's all a fair way. That's all a fair ways away. Yeah, I think maybe I just have too much stuff down here. And earlier I was clearing away this. All of this is from a somewhat failed attempt to do this at the North Pole, and to basically make a corridor from the North Pole down to a trading post I had found down here. This is on the other side of the planet, and that worked fine, except having all those sites clustered together has given me a lot of trouble. Another thing I'm finding, and there's a plaque, arrive at terminal. Terminal, that's where I just was. This was it called a terminal. There's the crash ship I was just at. That's great. It kind of fades in the background. Okay. Interestingly, I've also gotten far... There it is. Good. So that manufacturing facility there, there's a trading post right there. I do know that. So one on this world I can at least find. Alright, let's get ourselves up in the atmosphere. I don't know how much thamium I need. I don't have much room for it, actually. So maybe I won't mess with it. Let's find our space station. This way. Wait, what? Why? It's not orbiting this world, so how can that be? That really makes it seem like it is. But then again, I've got a lot of stuff going on here. Okay, tell you what. Let's get some more sky. Guy. It's kind of neat. I do like encountering other ships. Do not do any combat, so there's no point in hoping. That'd be cool to get close, though. Oh, they're heading down. That's really cool. Ooh, wow. Where are they headed? This is the first time out here I've been this close to a bunch. This is really kind of neat. This is really kind of cool. Maybe I'll follow them down. Why not? So I still don't have a huge amount of loft. I'm just not nearly far enough out that I could get any sense. I'm going to let them go. I need to be far enough out that I have a sense of a couple of things. Whether or not... So let's turn ourselves 180 degrees, close as I can. Think of two. Wow, a bit of a mess there. I need to determine a couple of things. I need to take a good hard look at the sites I mapped near the poles and see if they still seem to be near the poles, because if not, then the world is spinning at an angle that's going to, you know, that it's essentially absolutely hopeless to try and find the equator in particular ever again. So that's the first thing I need to find out. Still not quite enough distance. And then I need to take a look at the other markers around. Really, everything depends on point one, on whether or not the poles stay poles. And I found them in the first place by looking at the spot around the edge of the planet where day meets night. Now, I didn't figure that out for a couple of days. That's how I know that I was originally near the equator, because the first time around, that was my bright idea, was, hey, if I want to find a spot again, fly straight towards the middle, and I wasn't thinking at all about the fact that that would be the equator, which would always be spinning. So, you know, not so consistent. Okay. Wow, it's taken a while. Doing a little better. Almost enough that we can take a look. So, here's the stuff. You know, there's also a question of summer and winter. I mean, the days go so quickly that as the days shift by, like in the week, I mean, it almost seems like a day passes in an hour. And so, in a week, a number of days have passed. So this is where I was. These are one excursion. This is another excursion. And I believe originally those would have been at the pole. Not these. Unless I'm mistaken and they've spun all the way around. Now that's possible too. It is possible that these are the ones that are far south. Huh. That's the southern hemisphere. Crash ship. That shopping terminal is still there, funnily enough. That's where I was. So, if this is the pole, then there's hope. If this is the pole, essentially, and the world has kind of spun around, then there's hope. If this was the pole, then I'm in big trouble. But if that was the pole, then that means I really am near the equator here. Not as much there, but definitely here. And then I could begin traveling in, you know, trying to make my way equidistant. You know what I need to do to find, well, I would need to do two things to find out for sure, okay? One, too boring for me to do on the video, is to head towards this end of the markers and see if I can find the spot I landed at the pole, which is a tall order because it was a little island there, and I planted maybe 6 or 8 plaques by hitting the signal scanner. I would know it if I saw it, but the chances of finding it's kind of boring. The other thing I could do is head towards this pole and plant just one. One would be enough to identify it so that I had a sense essentially of the furthest points. Then at any given time on the surface I could look and say, come on now, oh well, this is what, 5 hours away or whatever, and this on the opposite side of my visor is another 5 hours away. I must be somewhere in the center. That would allow me to stay on an exploration track along the equator, and that would be extremely valuable. So that's what I will do, because even if this is not the pole, at the moment this is. Of course, okay, of course I need more distance. You know, that's a part of it. Alright, here's the deal. Oof, what a mess in here. Let's see something. Yikes. It could be, I also approached it from the space station. Alright, here's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to make some distance towards the space station, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to drop out and then turn back around and look. Assuming I can. I still have not, gotten consistent. Wow, I can see several planets from here. I can see Gekzub and Getkurag. And Kaina Dhren, and on the other side of it, presumably Akar Azai. So we'll try that. We're going to head towards the station, drop out about halfway there if we can. And I guess if we can't, we'll just go the whole way. Probably less dangerous to go the whole way, but it'll take longer. Let's give it a try. Then we'll turn... So that's another thing. If you are in the atmosphere and you aim at a site, it can often drift towards a different beacon, different place altogether. There you go. Okay. Alright, that's pretty good. Let's try to drop out. Nope. None of the buttons work. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, it does work. You press the two left and right triggers. Alright. Now, here we are. Okay, that's interesting. Alright. So this would seem to be the pole. And that just about makes sense. And all of my excursions have been away from that location. But because the planet has been turning, they've all been in different directions. So that makes the equator pretty consistently here. oddly, we've got this stuff showing up over here. We don't know if maybe that's on the other side of the planet, but I would think that stuff would be hidden. I don't know, man. I don't know. And I do not have video even of my initial approach. Stupidly, I wasn't recording at that time. Since that time, I've been recording when I make initial approaches, so that I have a log. Oh, nice. Yes, I am standing right in the way. Alright. Okay. I fear before I can do much more at the equator. Now, here's another thing, though, is this seems like a somewhat identifiable landmass, if that's consistent. I could head towards that. Plant one beacon nearby there, although it keeps drifting towards these. I think I need to clear this. I think I need to continue what I was doing and really clear out everything but what is most needed. And what is most needed are one or two sites right next to something you actually need, like this trading post here, which I can get to consistently because it's the only place I've managed to drop a unique enough location pin close, you know, like a quarter mile away from it. Alright, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend some time clearing this stuff. And I'm not going to let's play that because it'll be boring for people. So, I'm going to cut this off for now. And once we have a cleaner map, we will get ourselves back to a vantage point a bit like this and try again. Or, of course, if I happen to randomly run across a second portal, you'll be the first to know. Thanks for playing.